Minimum wage.
Minimum wage.
Raise the minimum wage.
The issue of minimum wage has been occurring over and over again since 1938, when the federal limit was just a quarter, which is about $4.13 in 2014's money value. It is an issue that has been debated time and time again, which has caused many different opinions to form.
One side insists that raising the minimum wage will inject money into the economy and lead to more jobs. The other side thinks that it will create inflation and force layoffs.
Minimum wage was created in 1938 as a part of the Fair Labor Standards Act, or the FLSA. This raised the minimum wage to 25 cents an hour. The government did this because they wanted employees to have a wage that they could live and thrive on. The change was right after the Great Depression, so people needed money. Minimum wage is risen when employees demand more income because the cost of living or supplies are rising.
Increases and decreases in the minimum wage have both helped and harmed the U.S. economy. An increase in minimum wage would either result in job creation or job loss. People would see their income rise and inflation would occur because employees being paid the minimum wage would be able to purchase more, and store owners would increase the prices of their stock. Not all of the unemployed are just teenage workers, though. Research shows that adults from ages 25 to 34 actually make up 9% of all minimum wage paid workers in the United States.
As you can see, some businesses, mostly restaurants, allow waiters to be paid less than the minimum wage, as long as they are tipped enough to reach the base pay.
So why do we have a minimum wage, you might ask? Well, that is a very debatable question that many people have asked. In short, the minimum wage was put in place to make sure workers were paid fairly for the amount of work and effort they put in. It was also put in place so that workers have a set amount that they can live on.
Well, this report shows that lower wages impact women all throughout their working lives, and these lower lifetime earnings translate into less security in retirement.
The two groups that have opinions on the minimum wage either want it to rise or decrease. The group that supports the increase are mostly low-wage employees and people that think it will help the economy. They believe that the low-wage workers after a minimum wage increase would have more money to spend and ultimately live a better life. Most Democrats, including President Obama and Vice President Biden, support this opinion.
Folks, it's long past due to increase the minimum wage. That will lift millions of hardworking families out of poverty, and in the process produce a ripple effect that boosts wages for middle class and spurs economic growth for the United States of America.
In my opinion, there's some really good things that can follow with an increase in the minimum wage. For example, you make more money while working minimum wage jobs, and therefore there'll be less people in poverty, which is always a good thing. There are also perks with decreasing the minimum wage, like a lower rate of unemployment, because people will be paid less, employers can hire more people. If the minimum wage were to change, it would not necessarily affect me, because I don't really work a minimum wage job anymore. But, if it were to increase, like I said before, I would get a pay raise, but that would only be the case because I was making less than the new minimum wage. If the minimum wage were to increase, I would definitely benefit because I'd be making more money, but I would not put it so far to where my lifestyle would change because I'm still a poor college student. Some advantages, like I said before, would be, an increase in earnings and less people in poverty, and then some disadvantages could be like an increase in the rate of unemployment because people get paid more, there will be less people being hired. If the minimum wage were to change, I'd want it to go higher. Even just a few dollars would help, but at the moment, it wouldn't affect me all that much. Yeah.
An example that supports the increase of minimum wage was in February of 1968 when Lyndon B. Johnson was president. The minimum wage hit an all-time high at $10.75. During this time, the poverty level hit an all-time low, and the nation as a whole was in good shape.
The major population of people that do not support an increase in minimum wage mostly support a small increase or no increase at all. But there are some people that support a decrease, including Jeff Johnson in Bemidji, Minnesota, that thinks an increase would eliminate job opportunities for the people that we say we are helping.
Now, there are many different options. One would be to eliminate the minimum wage entirely. This would put the unemployment rate at an all-time high, but the poverty rate would skyrocket.
President Obama would like to see the federal minimum wage increased from $7.25 an hour to $10.10 an hour.
Another possibility is to raise the federal minimum wage to $9 from $7.25 in 2 years, or raise it to $10.10 in 3 years. Both have their ups and downs. There are two parties that have formed: people that support an increase and people that do not. This is because you cannot predict what will happen if the minimum wage is boosted.
The Congressional Budget Office looked at what would happen if the minimum wage was raised to $10.10. The report said that nearly 1 million people would be lifted from poverty. On the other hand, another 500,000 would lose their jobs altogether.
There are some people who think that if the minimum wage is abolished, people would quit their jobs and go on welfare to get more money, therefore decreasing employment rate and putting the U.S. deeper in debt.
Another possible solution to this wage issue would be to have the minimum wage set on what your capital net worth is, at least until we get the unemployment rate down. This would employ lots of people and would enable people to live pretty comfortably.
And so the minimum wage is an obvious instrument to try and sort of set some sort of floor below which wages can't fall. But on the other hand, it's one of the harshest trade-offs in economics, and that's why it's an interesting economic question, which is with high wages, there's the threat of job losses.